Oh, since you said it, we'll use this as a segue to talk about the last team, which is obviously Mad Lions, the team that did just miss out on the playoffs. Right, the thing with this team is, you said it yourself there, until the last week, in the second half, they were just winning no games at all. Right, if you look at this squad, this is one of those teams, you have this every single LCS LEC split in history. There's always the team that ends the split strong, there's always the team that starts the split strong. This was just the team that started the split a bit better. Like, after the first few weeks, this team's just been downhill consistently. Like, everything fell away. The whole Unforgiven narrative, he just quieted down by the end of the split. He was looking fucking mega the first half. Rika just never really got online the whole time. By the way, interestingly, I even saw, I think you might even have seen this, you know when they do the, what do you call it? That fucking pop quiz, that feature they do for LEC. You know, they just released one where it was people's expectations before the split began.
Yeah, a lot of people said he was going to be
Everyone said he was going to be the rookie of the split. Did you see that? Almost every single player had Rika. I think, let's say there was 20 people they asked. Like, 18 had Rika as it. Like, everyone was thinking this guy was going to be really good, it looked like. And, mate, it just hasn't happened. I'm not hating on him, by the way. I think it's a very complicated player. We've talked about it in the past episode. It isn't that he's bad. It's just that he's not a star player. And unfortunately, in this team, like, you just look at it and you just fucking... we're all that Wolverine meme with the fucking humanoid in the photo going, oh, shit, humanoid. Like, and especially now we're seeing him in Fnatic. Like, that's who we're missing. So the problem is, like, at the end of the split, I said this before, but this is the angle that I'm taking from this. This is why, if you're Mad Lions, you can't restock star positions every split. Like, you can have times you miss. You're only human. Then, secondly... It's all well and good being like, we're going to be balanced and all that. Like, that's great if you're a championship team. You do need to find, like, little edges to give people a break. If you're a team like Mad Lions is now, you just need to be on the grind, mate. You have to be in that fucking server playing as many games as you can. Like, this team's... It was a train wreck the last half of the split.
Yeah, it was a train wreck for sure. And, I mean, I said this, I don't know if it was on a co-stream or maybe it was on the jungle or something, but... One of the things that I noticed was that Mad Lions, it felt like they tried to completely reinvent their identity. And I guess my reasoning as to why they potentially did this is because they thought that if they just plugged in Reeker and had Reeker just play similarly to Humanoid, like this TF that they played, they won every single game, by the way, this last week with him on TF. If they just played this like, oh, you're just going to be Humanoid light, they're like, oh, we're never going to be as good as we were last split. Like, if we just try to be that same version, we're just going to be the same team, but just worse because instead of having Humanoid, we have Reeker. So they tried all this different stuff, but in the end of the day, at the end of the day, they actually would have probably been a better team if they just used Reeker as a lighter version of Humanoid and they kept everyone else's strength, because where's the Xin Zhao? Where's Leona? Where are all the Mad Lions picks that you'd assume that they would play a lot the split? They just weren't here the entire time. And I mean, Reeker actually looked a lot better when he was playing TF and he has more agency than then when he was just like playing a different champion every game, where it's like, oh, he's playing an Ahri game with a Pyke and Kaiser's kind of running it down. I think the other thing is when Kaiser and Elyoya are so much less stable, I think it gives the rookies a harder time to improve. I don't think that that's the environment where the rookies are going to improve at the best pace, because they're not trying to like match, like they don't really know what they're supposed to do because every fucking game is different.
Yes.
And like they don't know what their teammates are even good at. Like Unforgiven and Reeker, they didn't get to experience what that Mad Lions last year was like how that actually felt to play with those players. So I think that it kind of stunted their growth a little bit. So, I mean, now they have a choice, right? Like, there's obviously people that everyone can look at Niski and be like, this guy was pretty fucking good. Like, he was clearly a top mid in LEC last year. Still playing the game a fuck ton. Still super high rated in solo queue. There's no reason to believe that if you plug Niski into Mad Lions would not be immediately a better team.
No, I'm with you on that. I think we discussed it last episode. That's just a slam dunk move, isn't it? Especially because, as you said as well, like, think of Niski's style of play. Dude, he didn't instantly fix this jungle support. Or at least he's the best possible band-aid that's available, at least, for fuck's sake.
Definitely. So the question is, are you going to go for a Niski, or are you going to actually double down? Because now you have the results. You have the hard results of, like, we didn't make playoffs with this lineup.
What would you predict? Let me ask you, what would you... Obviously, I'm not saying what would you do. I'm asking, what do you think Mac would do? Do you think he sticks with Rika? Do you think he goes for one of these players that's available to bring in last minute? What do you think you do?
What do I think Mac will do? I think he'll stick with Reeker, personally.
That's my vibe as well.
He seems like that type of guy where he'll, like, because the thing is also, like, I feel like Mac's the type of coach where he'll be, like, very self-reflective, and he's the type of guy that will also take blame, and maybe he'll reflect on the situation and be like, you know what, maybe I didn't put Reeker in the best situation to improve. What if I do things differently? Can Rika really like play better? That's the vibe I get from Mac. But I could be wrong. I mean, we've had him on one episode of the Crackdown. That was the only time I've ever talked to him. And
no, I have a similar vibe. Yeah. Like, I get the sense of, like, I also think as well, when you've been as vocal as he has about, like, you know, not putting pressure on players' mental health, like, I think essentially it's going to look pretty bad if you check a lad this motherfucker and just bring him up and go, here's the starting spot, and then go, actually, you suck. So even if you can get better, it ain't going to be with us. Goodbye. You know, don't call us, we'll call you. Like, that'd be pretty, that would be, in my opinion, like, anathema to what seems to be Mac's, like, philosophy on League. Like, if anything, he is the ultimate coach to double down. And as you say, it's actually it's a gift and a curse of leaders. I've noticed is great leaders, because they take responsibility for the loss. I've seen this a lot with actually like in-game leaders in Counter-Strike, Dom. You have leaders where even if like they were like a friend of mine and I was like, dude, you've got to cut this player, like he's holding you back, they would always be like what you're talking about. They'd be like, yeah, but I think some of it's on me though. Like if I can find a way to integrate him better, or like maybe like I need to like tweak a little bit what I'm doing, like maybe I haven't like explained to him what he need to. The joke, the premise goes, because they're a good leader, they try everything themselves before they actually write you off. The problem with that is, that's why I say it's like a curse and a gift. That can be really good. Like you can imagine it's going to make you like maximize all areas of your team. The problem is if you ever get a player who just won't be able to make that jump up no matter what you do, you might spin your wheels a bit like too long and you might waste like half a split on it. Or in this case, you might just blow someone gambling that he gets it together.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm not 100% sure that Rieker could not improve. You know, like I think that it was a tough split for him. But I don't think that he was really equipped to like deal with it. Like I do think that there is some truth in the fact that Mac could have done things differently. The team could have played differently to enable Rieker to improve it at a faster rate.
What you said earlier, by the way, I want to ask that actually. Do you think essentially that Mac coached this team like a global meta style? Like this is just what's strong in the champions at the moment. Here's the newest like you were making it sound like you wanted him to kind of like strip it down and have like simple, like here's the couple of champions I want you to play in. Here's like in that case of Rika, like you're just going to play a lot of like TF, play like Humanoid. Do you think he essentially didn't go to the Band-Aid approach?
I think he went too hard on trying to like be the best team overall, and he didn't like build it up the right way. I think he kind of made the grabs mistake a little bit from last year, where he wasn't putting his players in the best, like not being realistic with what was happening. Like at some point, I feel like you need to actually find some like baseline success on the stuff that is strong in the meta. So if anything, I think it was the other way around, where I would have wanted to see him become more of like a meta slave, because that's actually what I think Elyoya's biggest strength was. I never felt like Elyoya was picking random champions. I felt like his entire champion pool before was strictly meta, but he played the meta better than anyone else. I thought that that's who he was last year. And I think that Kaiser is definitely better on Engage than anything else. I think from watching his games,
noticeably so, yeah.
Very obvious he's better on Engage than anything else. He just finds the angle. He knows which people...
Dude, he should for real be on... I think I said this on the last one, but I'll say it again. He should be on that Hylissang treatment from a few years ago, where it's like, it doesn't even matter if Pike and Thresh are in the meta. If you want to pick it now. Yeah, no matter what the meta is. Because you're just that good on it, aren't you? Exactly.
Yeah, except for him, instead of Pike and Thresh, it's like Leona.
It'd be like Leona or something.
Yeah. So I just think that they didn't actually think that this was a possibility. There's like no way that we're just going to end up being not a playoff team if we go with this approach. And then once that became the reality, I think it was too late. It's like week 5, week 6, and they're like, shit, wait, we actually are just bad now. Oh, fuck, what are we going to do? And then they weren't able to get it together in the last like couple weeks. I think that week 7 was probably the most egregious to me. I believe that was like the RE Pike one, where it was like, this is what you're going to go out on. You're not going to go out on the picks you played. You're not going to go out on this super week you just showed us. They could have done this week earlier in my mind. That's where I wanted to see them. I wanted to see that be their response when their backs were against the wall, not still be like the weird team. I wanted to see it earlier. Also, like when you look at Rieker, it's like he had to play so many different styles and so many different champions. It's like that's pretty fucking hard for a rookie. Like he wasn't just sitting there like what? I mean, they were playing Victor, then they were playing Rise comps, then they're playing TF, then they're playing Ari. Like they're playing like and Yasuo. They're playing all these different champions that are just like. They're not really similar in identity.
No.
I think that's really hard as a rookie.
For sure. So, dude, you better be like Perks or Faker to play a champion pool like that.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, I mean, that's my take. I wouldn't be mad at them if they kept Rieker. I would just, you know, it would be just one of those things where it's like, you know what, you guys have enough. You've had enough success as a coach, as a staff, as an organization, that you like get the pass. It's like, you do whatever you think is right. We're not in the team, right? Like, I'll trust you on it. You do whatever you think is right. But at the end, if it's still similar results, then you will.
We have to flame you if you fail some, of course. Yeah. No, I agree. My premise goes like this. Look, I would say overall, like, if you can get this guy, we'll do it tomorrow. I just think that's a slam dunk move. But I sort of agree, as in, I don't think, like, if you notice, I always contextualize it. I just don't think Rika was doing more than he did. That's my problem. It wasn't that he didn't do it. He was terrible and into the games. He actually didn't int many games. I'd say fair play for in that regard as a rookie. Here's the issue, though, is if you keep Rika, then in my opinion, the whole focus in this fucking mid-season period is you better get the El Yoya thing fixed. Because like you're saying, I think it's more identity with Kaiser, but like El Yoya, even when he played some of his champions, it's like, dude, you just look like a different player from last year. This is where people also, like, remember, that guy for me is still sort of a rookie. He's only on, like, he's just finished his 3rd split ever. That's not as much League of Legends as people think. He wasn't someone who'd played tons of League of Legends before he came to LEC, remember? So to me, I think people took for granted that he was like, he'd mastered the game last split because he looked amazing. Like, you've actually seen now, sometimes he maybe didn't know what he was doing at times. Like, he just looked a bit lost. Like, he was going for the same champions. He was trying to make plays. He was trying to make, like, fucking out players. It just didn't work. And I think without Humanoid, like, the structure of the team did collapse a little bit in.
Yeah, and one thing that I hope that they do going forward is that they don't think of themselves like a championship team from 2021. Yes, exactly. I think it's useless. I want them to have, like, I want them to remember this year and just view it as, like, this team started this year. We were a 7th place, not playoff team in spring. How are we going to try to make the playoffs and try to go to Worlds? Like, that should be your focus. Trying to make the playoffs, trying to go to Worlds. That's your entire thing. And I want them to approach the game like they are learning things for the first time with this roster, because realistically, if everything that's said about Humanoid is correct, like, that is what it is. Like, he was a huge part of the team. So I want to see them just embrace the new, the team that they are now and not think about who they were a year ago.
Want to see more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, you know, be a pleb and don't.